Hey you guys, thank you for joining me today. We're going to be in Joshua 13 and 14 today, studying our word. I want to let you know there's a study guide available for 13 and 14 on CandyNicoleArise.com. Go over to study guides, click on study guides, and all the study guides are there for Joshua and everything else that we've gotten into, okay? So today we're diving into 13 and 14, and what you're going to see is there's a lot of lists here. And I know sometimes it's a little aggravating. And we kind of just read through this real quick. And it's like, all these lists, all these names, all these people, all these territories. God, what? I want you to think about how important this was to these people that they were making the list for. Okay? So Joshua is making these lists for these people. And I guarantee if you were a part of these tribes, you would be waiting for your name to be called, to understand what territory it is that the Lord is saying that you're going and occupy. And just like the Lord's taken his time and he has taken careful consideration in the Bible to make these long lists of all these places and these family names and these family lines, it's for a reason. It was important to those people. And there are lists right now that the Lord has made with your family on it, your inheritance on it, that is written up in heavenly books. And so today we're just going to be reading this list, but also picking up on the lessons that's inside of the list. All right. So in 13, it's talking about unconquered lands, and it starts and says, Joshua was old and advanced in age. And the Lord said to him, you have become old and advanced in age, but a great deal of the land remains to be possessed. This is the land that remains, all the districts of Philistines and the Gratites, from Sohor east of Egypt to the border of Ekron in the north, considered to be Canaanite territory. The 5 Philistine rulers of Gaza, Ashtaroth, Ashkelon, Gath, Ekron, as well as Avitites in the south, and all the land of the Canaanites, from Akerah to Sidonians to Ashtekek, as far as the border of the Amorites. The land of the Jebusites and the Lebanon east of Baal-gan, below Mount Hermon, to the entrance of Hathamat. All the inhabitants of the hill country, from Lebanon to Mathsasat, to the Sidonians, I will drive out before the Israelites. Only distribute the land as an inheritance for Israel, as I have commanded you. Therefore divide this land and its inheritance to the 9 tribes, and half of the tribe of Manasseh. So right now, the Lord is telling him how to divide up this land, but I need you to catch something. This is some land that has not been yet conquered. But the Lord is telling him ahead of time, prophesying to him, that this land will be theirs. To write this down in faith and distribute it in faith. Okay? So there's some lands and some plans that the Lord has given to you. And he has told you to write the plan down. Habakkuk 2:3. Make it plain. All right? Write it on tablets. And at its appointed time, you will see it. And that's kind of what we're seeing here. Write it down, and at its appointed time, you will see it. Okay? Another thing that he says to Joshua that I'm like, God, really? You have to emphasize this. Okay? Joshua was old and advanced in age. And the Lord said to him, Joshua, you've become old and advanced in age. As if Joshua did not know that he was old and advanced in age, okay? The King James Version says, thou art old and stricken in years. Thou art old and stricken with years. Well, the Lord has definitely pointed out to us that Joshua is not a young spring chicken anymore. He can't do the things that he used to do, but he's got enough in him to write these lists down and to begin to divide up this inheritance for these people to go out and take what is for them. All right. And so now we're going to continue in Joshua 13, verse 8. It says, with the other half of the tribe of Manasseh, the Reubenites and the Gadites had received the inheritance Moses gave them beyond the Jordan to the east, just as Moses, the Lord's servant, had given them. From Aaron on the rim of the Aaron Valley, along with the city in the middle of the valley, all of Matam Plateau, as far as Dibon, All the cities of King Sihon and Amorites who reign in Heshbon, to the border of the Amorites, also Gilead, and the territory of the Gishonites and the Machonites, and all Mount Hermon, and Bashite and Shakan, the whole kingdom of Og, and Bashadan, who reign in Ashtaroth, Iran. He was one of the remaining Redaim. Moses struck them down and drove them out. But the Israelites did not drive out the Geshurites, the Machonites, so Gershite and Mashine still live in Israel today. He did not, however, give any inheritance to the tribe of Levi. This was their inheritance, just as he had promised, the food of the offerings made to the Lord, the God of Israel. All right, so there's some things I want to point out to you concerning the Levites, okay? We're going to continue to hear this over and over again as the list is being read of who and what is getting, who's getting what, okay? The Lord wants to make a clear indication of who is getting what. And the Levites, you're going to continue to hear the same thing of what it is that they're getting, or better yet, what it is that they are not getting. All right, so you guys, what we're seeing is the Levites did not receive any land like the other tribes. They were set apart, okay? They were the priests, okay? So no possessions were given to them. The presence of the Lord is what it is that they had with them, okay? It was not the territory that they needed. They were the ones that were there to set the worship, to set the standard of worship, okay, in all of these places. So they were not chasing after things. Those things that they were needed would be provided for them. But the land, the inheritance of the land was not them. Their inheritance was the Lord's presence, all right? So it says in Joshua 13:3, but to the tribe of Levi, Moses gave no inheritance. The Lord, the God of Israel, is their inheritance as he promised them, okay? That hit deep because many of us, you can look at us as like spiritual Levites still here. We're not inhabiting any land up in Israel or anything of that nature, okay? But the presence of the Lord is with us. The presence of the Holy Spirit is with us, okay? So I want to go down to Joshua 13, verse 15, okay? It says, Reubenites' inheritance. The tribe of Reuben, descendants of their clan, Moses gave as their territory from Akron to the rim of the Akron Valley, along the city in the middle of the valley, the whole plateau as far as Mesothop, with Habashan and its cities on the plateau, Dibon, Bethmad, Bel, Hapathon, Jazan, Kipon, Mazan, Krizam, Sebeth, Zereth, on the hill of the valley, Bethport and the slopes of Prizath, and Beth Jehoth, all the city of the plateau, and all the kingdom of King Shahan of the Amorites, who reigned in Heshbon. Moses had killed them, and the chiefs of Midian, Evi, Rekem, Zur, Rebekah, and princes of Sion who lived in the land, along with those the Israelites put to death. They also killed the diviner, Bacchon's son, Beor, with the sword. The border of the Reubenites was the Jordan and its plain. This was the inheritance of the Reubenites by their clan, with the cities of their settlements. God's inheritance. The tribe of the Gideonites, their clan Moses gave this as their territory. Jasper and all the cities of Gilead and half of the land of the Amorites. Amoron near Rathabath and Heshbon to Rathabath. Belham and Meshakotom to the border of Debrai, the valley of Bashan, Bethon, Skatat, Zapparan, and the rest of the kingdom of King Sidon Heshon. Their land was also included in the Jordan and its territory as far as the edge of the Sea of Kishon and the east of the Jordan. This was the inheritance of the Gadites by their clans, with the cities and their settlements. Now we're going to get into Manasseh's inheritance. Manasseh, remember Joseph and his son, all right? He had two sons, but his father basically adopted his two sons, and so his two sons, they're receiving a double inheritance in this time. All right, so we're about to see Joseph's two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. They're two different tribes. They basically get double portions, so there's no tribe of Joseph. Joseph actually gets double portion through his children. Okay, so now we're about to see that. All right, half of the tribe of Manasseh. Okay, that's just half. It's a lot of them. Okay, that's the half of the tribe of Manasseh's descendants by their clans. Moses gave this as their territory. From Meham throughout Bethshan, all the kingdom of King Og, Bashan, including the Jars, the villages that are in Bashan, 6 cities, but half of Gilead and Og's royal cities in Bashan. Ashtaroth, Ekron are for the descendants of Mayor, sons of Manasseh. This is half their descendants of Maran by their clans. There were portions Moses gave them on the plains of Moab behind the Jordan east of Jericho. But Moses did not give a portion to the tribe of Levi. We're seeing it again. The Lord, the God of Israel, was their inheritance, just as they had promised them. The Levites, those are the priests. So they're going to all the places, all the territories. They're moving all around. Okay, they're the priests. They have no land. The Spirit of the Lord. That's what they got. They got the Spirit of the Lord. Okay, so they are in between all of these tribes and clans. The Levites are in there. All right. Now in 14 it says Israel's inheritance in Canaan. The Israelites received these portions that the priests Ekajon, Joshua son of Nun, and the family heads of the Israelite tribes gave them in the land of Canaan. Their inheritance was by lot, as the Lord commanded through Moses. For the 9.5 tribes, because Moses had given inheritance to the 2.5 tribes beyond the Jordan. But he gave no inheritance among them to the Levites. Once again, the descendants of Joseph became 2 tribes, Manasseh and Ephraim. No portion of the land was given to the Levites, except the cities to live in along the pasture lands for their cattle and livestock. So the Israelites did as the Lord commanded Moses, and they divided the land. Caleb's inheritance, okay? The descendants of Judah approached Joshua at Gilead, and Caleb's son, Jecai, and Kizanite said to him, "You know what the Lord promised Moses, the man of God, at Kishon Barah, about you and me. I was 40 years old when Moses, the Lord's servant, sent me from Kishon Barah to scout the land, and I brought back an honest report. My brothers who went with me caused the people to lose heart, but I followed the Lord completely. On that day, Moses swore to me, the land where you have set foot will be an inheritance for you, your descendants, forever, because you have followed the Lord my God completely. As you see, the Lord has kept me alive these 40 years, as he promised, since the Lord spoke this word to Moses while the Israelites was journeying in the wilderness. Here I am today, 85 years old, and I am still as strong today as I was the day Moses sent me out. My strength for battle and for daily tasks is now as it was then. Now give me all the hill country the Lord promised me on that day, because you heard then that the Amorites, are there as well as large fortified cities. Perhaps the Lord will be with me, and I will drive them out as the Lord promised." Then Joshua blessed Caleb, son of Jecai, and gave him Hebron as an inheritance. Therefore Hebron still belongs to Caleb, son of Jecai, Kazanites, as an inheritance today, because he followed the Lord completely. Hebron's name used to be Cashonite Abri. Abri was the greatest man among Ashatim. After this, the land had rest from war. So let's talk about a little bit more about Caleb. So Caleb is now 85 years old. Whenever he was sent out with the original man, Moses sent out them to look at the land, right? Remember they say the big old grapes and the giants and everything, and there's no way, right? But Caleb was one of the ones that said, we got this, okay? Just as the Lord commanded, he promised us this land, we got this, right? And so the Lord has kept him alive. Everybody else done died. Everybody else died, baby. But he remained. And the Lord kept him. Now he's 85 years old, but he's saying he's just as strong. He's still able to do all the things that he was doing before whenever they first sent him out. He has the same amount of strength, same vigor, okay? So now he's saying, the Lord promised me this land, remember me, okay? I'm still here, I'm still standing. I'm able to go out and get the land. See how they said with Joshua, you're old, you can't do nothing, right? Caleb, still, he's old, but he can still move. He can still go and conquer that land, right? So here he is reminding Joshua, and Joshua distributes him the same land that was promised to them, that he went scout out, okay? And he tells him, go, you can have that land. And the man has so much faith in God that God said from the jump that they could have this land, that he's saying, now I'm going to go and conquer this. And maybe, you know, God's going to be with me as I go forward. He will give me the strength to go and conquer the land that he said is mine. So he's moving out in faith. He has total and complete faith that the land that the Lord said back when years ago, 40 years ago, when they was in the wilderness, the Lord said that that was their land. He believes that now this is his inheritance, and he's going to go in there with his sons, his family, his clan, and they're going to take their land just as the Lord promised. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed the study of Joshua so far. Go ahead again, go over to CandyNicoleArise.com and get your study guide. I'll be back with you guys tomorrow for more.